Prescott suffered a compound fracture and dislocation of his ankle while being tackled in the third quarter in yesterday's win against the Giants. Dak was carted off and immediately taken to a hospital where he underwent a successful surgery. Fox Sports NFL analyst Michael Vick joining us this morning. Mike, it's just devastating. What was your reaction when you saw this injury to Dak?
It was tough. It's tough to watch. I was distraught. Just like Dak's teammates, in disbelief. I was in disbelief. And, I actually shed a tear because I thought about Dak's road traveled and how he got to this point. It's been nonstop ever since his rookie year. Ever since replacing Tony Romo, he's had to come in and fulfill his obligations and duties that he probably wasn't expecting, being a fourth-round pick. A lot was handed to him and put on his plate, and I think he handled it extremely well, whether positive or negative scrutiny or press. Dak was a stand-up guy, man, and selfishly, I wanted to see how this story was going to end with Mike McCarthy and this team in the 2020 season. But God had a different plan for Dak. Things happen for a reason, and I think this would be a time for him to kind of step back, reboot, refresh, and look at 2020 as the learning experience, the learning opportunity, and get ready for 2021. But certainly it was tough to watch, man. I definitely shed a tear for Dak yesterday because I felt that moment in 2003 when I broke my ankle. And, my teammates rallying around me and everybody want you to be out there and want to compete and fight for you. But it's all over. That's the tough part about the game. And, sometimes that's what football presents, and we got to accept it and move forward.
And Skip and I was just talking off air. I said, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, I think Mike broke his ankle too. It was a preseason game against Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, preseason game against Baltimore.
So how long were you out, and what was your recovery like?
It wasn't as severe as Dak's injury. So I think I just had a clean fracture. And I was out 3 months. I came back and played, finished the season. We actually finished 3-1 that year. But, I fought really hard to get back. We had lost maybe like 7 or 8 games in a row, and, the organization was in turmoil. So I fought really hard to get back. And fortunately, the injury wasn't as bad as we thought it would be. So I was able to get back out there. But at the same time, just rallying for my teammates, man, and just wanting to get back and compete for the love of the game was my motivation. So I think all of this, Dak has to find some positive. And now, like I say, he has a chance to refresh and reboot and think about what's next in 2021.
Michael, how did yours happen? How did you break your ankle?
True story. Running from Ray Lewis, in a preseason game, and just to shed some light on the situation in the positive. I always think about this story. Didn't want to play in preseason, going against my coach, thinking I know everything. Dan Reed's telling me, listen, playing 2 quarters is what I want you to do. That's what you're going to do. I'm like, Coach, we don't need to play 2 quarters. I go to Ray Lewis and ask him before the game, how long y'all playing? He's saying, as long as you're going to be out there. And I'm like, doing. And so, every possession, Ray was sitting there, he was watching. He was looking like coming back out. And every time I got back on the field, he came back out there. Just trying not to play hurt. Just trying to get through a game and not giving it 100% effort. He led to my demise that day, and it's very difficult.
I think you got tackled similar to what I think Adalius Thomas tackled you from the back. It happened pretty much the same. If I'm not Skip, as a matter of fact, Skip, that was 2003, right?
2003.
Yeah, because I remember watching it on television, and you got tackled very similar. But Mike, the same thing. I was like, tears started to well up because I know what's going through. I know what's going through his mind. It's like, because I hate the franchise tag. It's almost like when people are like, well, no, Shannon, they give you. Dak wanted long-term security. He says, guys, I've been here for 4 years, and I had the third year, you made me go out there and prove it. Last year, I had to go out there and prove it. And so now here I am, 5th year. There are only so many times that you can tempt fate before fate bites you, because you know, Mike, playing that position, you get caught in different situations. Quarterbacks are not used to falling like a wide receiver because they know, certain things like that. But when he went down, I automatically knew what it was because I've been tackled like that before and tore ligaments in my ankle. So I knew, and that's why they outlawed the horse collar, because Roy Williams, Skip, remember for the Cowboys, he broke T.O.'s ankle in the very same way.
Same way.
And he if I'm not mistaken, he broke a guy's, either tore both knee ligaments or broke both legs from Tennessee Titans doing that. And so they outlawed that. But I knew once he jerked him down and put all his weight, the inside leg had no chance.
So, Michael, as a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan, what was so devastating to me was Dak has been as durable as any quarterback in the league for 4 years, has not missed a start, has not appeared on an injury report. I think he was out for 2 plays against the Falcons earlier this year to get examined for a concussion, and that was it. So he takes off on a quarterback draw, and he's challenged by a defensive back, Logan Ryan, who's about 5'11", 195. Dak goes 6'2", what do we give him, 235, 240. And it's face-to-face confrontation. It's not from behind grabbing him unexpectedly with the horse collar. And yet Logan Ryan challenges him and goes up and gets a hold of him and somehow yanks on him hard enough that the ankle gets caught up under both their feet. And not only does it break, it compound fractures and comes through the skin, and it dislocates the ankle. So we got one gruesome glimpse of the ankle sideways. The foot is sideways, obviously, the way it's not supposed to be.
Right.
And it took me 15 minutes to even compute what had happened because Dak Prescott just doesn't get hurt. And that was not the kind of play. If you'd give me 100 possibilities of he'll get hurt on this kind of play, I would have bet against that kind of play.
Skip, the thing was that when he was scrambling, he had the ball in his right arm. So he tried to switch it to his right, and he wasn't able to extend because he was trying to extend. And so that's why the guy was able to get close enough to him and pull him down and drop all of his weight, because he's like,